In this video, I just wanted to talk about some of the new projects I've got coming up with the free WitchPig plugins and instruments. Give very quick examples and maybe talk about some of the technological changes that have been happening recently that open up some new possibilities and some ideas I've got for the future as well. So I'm doing this on November the 1st. So the first instrument I'm just going to talk about is the Kontakt player version of Harmulator. So this has only just come out. I did do the original version, which only works in the full version of Kontakt. You could do it in the player, but it just lasted for 15 minutes in demo mode. I've now done it, gone through the whole process of making it NKS compatible and Kontakt player compliant and everything. It's quite a big process. It takes quite a long time, and the reason you didn't do it before is because it costs quite a lot of money to do it. So if you're doing a paid one, you have to pay Native Instruments quite a lot of money to do it. But they did do it all for free, as long as you meet all the requirements and stuff for me. So it'd be interesting to see how many more people use the Kontakt player version than the full version, which isn't very many so far. I'm quite surprised. I would have thought, I had a lot of people in comments saying, "Oh, why can't you do a free Kontakt player version?" It's like, because it costs loads of money, but now I've done it, not that many people have actually used it anyway. So, but anyway, if you want to try it out for yourself, if you go to witchpig.co.uk and you send an email to witchpigaudio@outlook.com, then what you can do is you can go to so send you a serial number, and then you have to go to Native Access, a new version of Native Access. And you can add in the serial number there. I'll just show you where it is. It'll just pop up in a second, and I'll show you where you can pop it in. So if you go to here, add serial, when you pop it in, you can see it's here. It'll show up on here, and then you should have a default save path. I normally keep it on a separate hard drive because Kontakt Instruments can end up taking up a lot of room. So I just bought a cheap one off Amazon. It works fine. Saves on using it on your computer. Then you can set a different installation path on there, or use your default one. And then you'll see it turns up. So in the libraries, if you look on the libraries, it appears there. So when you do you have the previews and stuff as well when you do these. And also, what happens is it's NKS compliant. So the NKS keyboards have like a little screen on it, and then you can control the actual knobs in the software on hardware knobs and link them in. And it's also has accessibility controls and standardization and stuff, which is quite a lot of faffing. And you have little pictures which appear in different places. So if you haven't used this before, a quick overview: you've got 4 basic sounds, different sets of samples on there, and then you can control reverb and distortion using this. So for the NKS keyboards, this is mapped to knobs. So I'll just do a quick example. I'll do another one, and I'll just show you how you change these. You can also, if you click on here, then you get the ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release. So you can change the sounds on those. Can't remember what I'm saying. You've got a help there. Play one more just quickly. Okay, so if you want to try that out, just go to a website and send an email to witchpigaudio@outlook.com, put Harmulator in the title, and then I'll send you a serial number. Okay, so the other thing I've been looking into is I was interested in doing more like 3D type front ends, more sophisticated front ends. So I was looking at Owen Bollig did some very cool front ends for Kontakt, and he is using Blender. So I started having a look at that. I couldn't get it to work initially, and the reason I couldn't was because my graphics card wasn't up to date enough. So, but I went back a year, eventually got it working by going back to a year, and then I can get it to run. But it seems it's very time consuming and takes up a lot of work to do it. But you can do some cool stuff. You can even do, there's people doing, whole like animated movies and stuff with it. And what you can do is with Juice, which I'm using to create a plugin. So this is the industry standard C++ library for gives you classes for doing audio stuff. And they've recently extended it. So another thing they've extended with Juice is they've made it so you don't get the pop-up when you start saying made in Juice if you're doing free ones. And if you did want to do a paid one, you don't have to pay for the license until you do something like $20,000 in a year or something. But I've only ever done free ones, so it doesn't really matter. But they have also added some more extensibility for using things, more sophisticated front ends, using web stuff or using 3D graphics, and using things like which write directly to the graphics card. So it means you could do stuff faster and more complicated. So with Blender, I did try doing this, and I've got some examples here. So this is the kind of thing. So this is actually a Juice plugin like you'd have running in your DAW, and I'm using an object file which would be created from Blender. So it's just like a house thing. So this is an example, but there are some issues with this. One of the problems is I think Mac aren't going to keep supporting OpenGL, which is what you use, the technology used for writing directly to your graphics card. So this is a bit of a problem. And there is code in some examples where you have basically run different bits for a PC or a Mac, but it makes it complicated and awkward. And I think people have had quite a lot of problems with getting it to work with Mac, so you don't know if it's going to be supported at all in the future. So this is a bit of a problem or a limitation. It could be cool what you can do with it, but I don't know if this is going to happen. So you can also, they've done it so that you can also run like web front ends, and you can use sort of like web type menus, and that opens up a whole load of possibilities as well. So you could use a more sophisticated front ends using like modern web technology to do cool graphics to connect to the back end and run the Juice audio code. But I haven't got all that working properly in the way I would like it. I think there's still some issues with that. So here you can see like this is like a web browser. This is like a Witchpig site. The instruments bits, and that's running actually in a Juice plugin. So the idea would be you'd click on things like on the menu on that and then get that to actually change the audio code. But what I did get working to an extent is I found a better option for doing it was actually Free.js, which is a JavaScript library. And you can use that to do 3D images and do cool graphics. So just give some quick examples on here of things you can do. So you can create 3D models on this, and you can create animations and do some interesting stuff. So this is what I've been playing. I started playing about with that to start with. And so I'll give you, so my new plugin, which is coming out soon, I use Free.js to do that. So I'll show you that, and I'll give you a quick example. I've got separate videos for this, which I'll show you later. So see this pop up. So here you go. This is Angel Dust. So if you click on here, you can see the controls. So it's basically like a pitch shifter, but we've added delay, and you've got a pitch shifter running on two sides. So you have different pitches on either side. I'll do a more complicated walkthrough where you can use maybe multiple ones to get lots of different pitches and delays going at the same time to do very heavily affect. But these examples here are all just done with guitar. On this particular example, on the left hand side it goes down an octave, -12, and then you've got 7 semitones on the right, so you're actually adding a fifth harmony. So what I'll do is I'll bypass this, and then I'll just play a plain guitar. The plain guitar is just like a tapping lick, string skipping tapping lick, and then I'll play it with the plugin so you see what it's doing. But if you want to see some more examples, check out the dedicated video, which should be out soon. Okay, so I'll just play it now with the plugin on so you see what it's doing for one example. Okay, so yeah, check out the video if you want to see more examples of that and you want to download it. I'll show you. So the other thing I have been doing, talking about some of the problems with Macs and different systems, is I did a second version of Black Mirror Reverb. Just go along to here. Is that popping up? So one problem I did find, I'd done a version already for this. It's a new version that's coming out. One problem is with on Macs within Logic is that it blocks the animation. So this is one of these things. I haven't got a Mac, so it's difficult for me to know unless somebody tells me or unless I get somebody to test it on it. And then sometimes it's only a problem when you have certain versions of software on certain versions of DAWs on certain versions of operating systems. So if you're doing it professionally, you wanted to check on everything, you'd need to have multiple machines, different types of machines, different types of DAWs, different types of, and all different versions of those in different kinds of combinations. So even with like a big professional testing setup, which is very expensive and tedious, you still find things oddities which don't work properly. It's a pain in the ass basically. But what I've done is if it doesn't work with the animation is it does do a static image. So it still looks the same, but it's not flickering all the time. So that should work. And the other thing you'll probably notice is I've added a filter and mix. So the filter, if you turn it down, it's a low pass filter, then you probably need to turn the magnifier up to make it louder. And if you turn it up, then you can turn this down. But it will change the tone quite a bit. And you can also mix in the original signal with the other one. So I added 3 new presets. These are all the same as before, the first ones. So I wanted to keep it the same if people have been using it, but I added in some new ones to just show off the different things different tones you can get. So I'll bypass this again, and this is just like a bit of arpeggio lick. I'll just play a bit of it and then I'll play it with this and you'll see what it's doing. Okay, with the Black Mirror Reverb on, this is on the new Reflect and Survive preset. Okay, so yeah, that should be out soon as well. I'll do a dedicated video for the version 2 of some more examples and some different ways you could use it as well. There's other things you could do like automating the filter control in Reaper and stuff, get some interesting results. The other thing I've been looking at doing is I've got another idea for a new Kontakt instrument, and I've got a good idea for a 3D type front end I'm going to use, which is basically going to be using like a film strip. So you can use something like Blender to create, as well as creating an object file, you can use it to render it. It's like a strip file, which would be like if you flick a corner of a book and you see the animations moving, it does like an image like that. And then you can step through it in relation to things like the audio. So you could make it go through quickly to the end if it gets loud or down or something like that. And I've done that before on, say, like AXA. If you check out my AXA Kontakt instrument, I'm doing something like that, but I can hopefully I'll be taking that a stage further in the next Kontakt instrument. I'm also interested in doing something along the lines of like a guitar synth where you convert audio to MIDI. So I've got some basic ideas for that. I did another plugin before called Make a MIDI Mapper, so I've got an idea of how to do all the MIDI stuff on that. And I've also experimented in Reaper in converting audio to MIDI and doing some quite cool stuff on that. It's not perfect, but that's an interesting possibility. So if you want to check out these or you want to know when they come out, if you click on the alerts from our YouTube channel, you'll see videos and stuff when they come out. Hopefully you found some interesting stuff here, some interesting possibilities. If you haven't come across it before, there's loads of free stuff on the witchpig.co.uk site, so check that out. And yeah, thanks for watching. Cheers.